And we're back. I don't know what's going on. Maybe the Wi-Fi is cutting out because it's so hot. It's like going to the pool or something. But we're back. Making penny scrolls. And I think Levi's talking to me, but I can't hear him way over there. I'm gonna have to get him a little microphone and like an earpiece for me so I can hear him. That up. Alright, so we're back. We're making stuff. Still not super happy with that, so we're going to clean that up a little bit. Should probably switch my camera so you can see what I'm doing. See what I'm doing all right? Yeah, I think so. Usually I have some kind of anecdote or story to tell, but with the back and forth on the technical stuff, I've not thought of anything silly or fun or wildly interesting to say. You got anything?
No.
Nothing. All right, it's going to be one of those days, guys.
That's why you're supposed to be the face. You're supposed to be the one that comes up with everything.
I'm supposed to come up with this. I know it, but I'm slacking today. Let's see how this is looking. Are we ready to start rolling this up? I think so. So we're going to hang that off the edge. And we're just going to hammer it right off. Did I switch the camera? I'm so proud of me. There we go. Let me stand it up. I don't know how much of that you can see. And then just kind of hammer it back onto itself. There you go. Not a bad little whoop. Let's go lower. There you go. Not a bad little start. So we'll get the rest of it hot and start rolling it around that. I think at some point in time I'm going to either have to mount this anvil up on a mill and clean up all these nicks and grinds, or pull out the welder and fill it all in and then sand it down level again. I don't know. I'm not really sure what the best method is, so we'll just have to get to that when my buddy gets his mill up and running. Then we'll have that conversation.
So why don't you have a nail that you want that size for out to engage with?
Why do I not have? So the question is, why do I not have a nail out here to ensure that I make the hole big enough for the nail? And that's a really good question. Perfectly cromulent, as they would say. But the thing is, if you look at that, I don't know if you can see the gap there. You as a human, since you asked me the question, that's perfectly fine for a nail that would hold up a hook such as this, right? It's not like we're hanging like a 40-pound chandelier from this or something, so we don't need to put a huge nail in there. Just a small tack nail will do, and that's small enough that it's pretty easy to find a nail that'll fit that. But yeah, I could measure it, but I could also eyeball it too.
Get it to where it fits. The head of the nail covers the hole.
Pretty much. I'll let that get a little bit longer in the heat so I can move it more. The hook I made last week on the stream, I ended up pulling out a small tack nail and putting it on the wall, and that's where I hang my hat. Find my keys, which is on a key rack that I made heck, a year and a half ago. I'm not overly proud of it. I could definitely do better now. But, you know, it's one of those older pieces that I made. I like to keep it around to remind me where I came from. All right, just like before, we hold it off the edge and knock it down until it starts to kind of stand on its own and roll it over itself. See how that rolls right around. Hammering back on myself, to myself. Getting a little cold, it doesn't roll much more, so we'll bring it hot again. Here, a project I want to do. A buddy of mine, I don't think he's in the stream, so I can talk about it. You won't know I'm talking about him. But he's got one of those things that's on the wall by his front door. It says keys, and it's got 5 hooks. Or I should say, it's got a space for 5 hooks, but it only has 4, and one of the hooks is missing. And every time I walk by, it's like that gap really annoys me. So I have some copper tube. I'm going to cut it and then flatten it, and then shape it and give it some kind of flair, make it look nice. And then I'm going to make a few hooks and then rivet it on there. And then make it like a really nice little doodad, and then just show up at his house and be like, hey, use this instead. Throw that other piece away. But if he's in the chat, I don't think he is, he's probably working. But if he's in the chat and you know I'm talking about you, pretend you're surprised when I show up with it. Switching the camera over so we can let it curl a little bit. Notice I'm not hammering directly down on top of it. I'm giving it planting blows backwards to roll it up. I was asked the other day how my knife making skills are coming along, and I just kind of chuckled because they're not. Like, I started a knife a few months ago, probably about 2 months ago. I started that knife, and it's just been sitting on my grinding table. Just got to grind it up, make it look pretty, and I do a paracord handle on it. And like, I'm happy with the blade shape, but I put like a finger ring on the end of the handle. I'm just not overly excited with how that came out. It's a little thin in some sections. I'll probably grind it to make it look more likable. I'm just not overly proud of it, so that's why I haven't finished it. Also, forging knives is a lot of fun. Heat treating knives is a lot of fun. Fit and finish is no fun whatsoever. I'd be happier if I could just make blades and then hand them off to somebody else to put handles on them. I just don't have patience for that kind of thing. So you notice I'm just rolling that over. I need the gaps off the side of the anvil. Make more friends when you work over the center of the anvil and not over the edge. Get that all good and hot and start rolling again. If you were here last week, you'll notice that this one is not rolling up as easy as the last one. That's because this is 1/4 inch round instead of that thin stuff I was working with last week. I don't even remember what it is, like 3/16. Is that a number? I'm not good at numbers. But yeah, the person that was asking me about knives, he wants me to make him a pocket knife, like a folder. I've never made one of those. I could do a friction folder, but generally speaking, I wouldn't want to walk around with a friction folding knife in my pocket. That just sounds like a recipe for jabbing yourself in the thigh when you sit down or something of that sort. But like fixed blade knives, that'd be a lot of fun. Just got to get over the not wanting to do finish. There appears to be a new dog in the neighborhood too. I've not seen that dog before. So I don't know if that dog's gonna come over and say hi or not. I hope so. He may end up making an appearance on the stream. Who knows? We'll check in with our moderator, Mr. Levi. Anybody in the chat? Anybody? No comments, no questions, no nothing? Got a good heat here, so let's do some more curling up with the stuff here. So again, we just fall off the side of the anvil, and then we roll it back on the top again. I'm not hammering directly down when I do that. I am now, because I want to clean that up a little bit. I got a little oblong on that one. Gotta get better at hammering and talking at the same time. So yeah, when you see that, I get a little bit of a gap there. I don't know if you can see that. A little bit of a gap, I just hold it off the side and close it right over the gap. Also, I should mention that I'm getting really low on gas, so if the gas just dives out on us and the forge quits, I don't have any more gas, so that would make it for a really short stream. I'm going to catch the pressure real quick. We will probably be able to get to this stream. We'll see. No promises. So yeah, let's see how we're doing on our heat. Yeah, we're getting a little bit hotter there, so we can wrap that up. Another thing you can keep in mind, what I use this metal tray over here for a lot of times is, with the curl being hot, it's going to move and shift as we roll it around. So you could clench the very edge, and that'll make it less likely to move. So when you're rolling it, you're not working it up. But most of the time, if you're careful with your hammer swings and you go to it, not through it, that's usually not a problem. Again, like I say, you're the one that put those bends and folds in the metal. You're the one that can take them out. You may notice I just laid it on its side and gave it a few top taps. That's because the roll was getting a little out of hand. Starting to stand up a little bit, so you can kind of massage that back in place. But again, don't hit it too hard because you lose the nice curls, nice curvature of the metal. So be gentle when you hit it. Put it back in place. And try to get that to heat a little less down the line so it doesn't just fold over like that. Big thing about blacksmithing is heat management. Make sure the right part is hot, because that's the part that you want to bend. Which is another nice thing about coal fires, is you can really dial in where that goes. You can control that a little bit easier. I think we finally found the right setup here as far as cameras go, and the new microphone I think is working out nicely. Levi, can we get a thumbs up on the sound? How's it sounding? Cool. So I think we figured out the camera setup, the microphone setup. Like I say, I like having him over there more. Feels less stalkery. Like he's not looming over my shoulder, watching, waiting for the right time to sneak attack. I gotta say though, it is very hot. How many do we got? 1, 2, 3. That ain't bad. About the size of the hardy hole. I think we'll stop curling that up. No, I think that's probably about the right size. Seems nice to me. So now we will redirect that metal so it comes out straight instead of off to the side. And then we'll do something that I've never done on the channel before. We're going to actually measure something, which I know many of you are cheering and jumping up and down that I'm finally doing things sort of right. Oh, look at this. We got some company here. So we'll measure out probably 6 inches and then cut it and then make it a hook. Levi, would you be kind enough to grab the other chair out of the truck? It's not quite where I want it yet. I didn't push it in there far enough. So we'll get the heat in the right spot. I think we're about right there. So Rochemay is loose, so be careful. Alright, so now we're going to push this back. So you can see it comes right off the side. So we're just going to push this back so it's more closer to the middle. Yeah, nothing really fancy, just push it back a little bit. And tighten that up a little bit maybe. So yeah, there we go. Go ahead and measure this stuff out before we cut it. Which I should have had my tools ready. So we'll measure it out and then we'll just put a mark where it's going, then we'll cut hot. So we'll do it from the inside there. That's going to be a long hook. Let's do 4 inches instead, I think. I almost touched that with my skin. Don't do that. Stuff is hot. You really can't see what I'm doing now. I'll switch to the other camera. Alright, we're just going to put just a nick in there so I can find when it's hot. If you use like a soapstone marker or something, that'll burn off in the forge. If you use a coal pencil, that won't burn off. I don't have one of those. And again, since my hot cuts ran off, we'll do it the not right way. We just get it cut. Not quite hot enough. Got a newcomer show up. Everyone say hi, Brittany. Alright, so let's cut this stuff and try not to launch it across the yard in the process. Just do a couple whacks and then rotate it. We're going to try. Well, that's definitely not going to work for us. I put my mark on the wrong side, but that's okay. Notice I'm putting the scroll over the hardy hole so it doesn't get deformed by me hammering. Ooh, that's getting warm. So we got it cut, put one hell of a rag on it, but we're going to taper that down anyways, so it shouldn't matter a whole lot. Keep your tools handy and everything handy so you're not having to dig around while you're working. Losing pressure, so we may run out of gas before we get to the end of this. But we'll see what happens. Levi, any questions, comments? Anybody in the chat hang out? There's one nasty red. We'll see if we can get that out of there or not. I don't know what it feels like to you guys, but does it feel like it's gotten hotter in the last few minutes? I am roasting over here.
Quite toasty out today.
Very toasty. I was gonna fire up the grill, do some grilling tonight. But after standing next to this forge, I don't know if I want to do that now.
Really, you can walk away from for a while, though.
One more time.
Really, you can walk away from for a while.
This is true. Never want to leave your piece in the forge unattended. Which is a good point you bring up, Levi. I can't walk away from the forge. Because A, don't put something in the forge and walk away. That's rude. And B, if you're using a coal forge, your piece melt and fall apart. Ask me how I know. Well, you see, Levi, many a time I have put a piece in a coal forge and walked away just to go use the restroom real quick, or go grab a drink real quick, and you come back to a sparkling mess. The real insult is when you put the piece in there and you're working the blower, and you get to talking to somebody else, and you forget that you're actually, working the organ grinder or something. You turn around and your piece breaks off as you pick it up. I've done that more times than I've done the other. And as evident there, I also have a real knack for pulling a piece out, hammering for 2 seconds, and then talking to somebody for 4 minutes while the heat goes away. So yeah, I guess the lesson today, kids, is pay attention to what you're doing. And break up the format just a little bit. Maybe next week's stream, one or both of yous jumps up here and I'll walk you through the basics. It'll be super fun.
Yeah, something like that.
Do some real basic stuff. Just make S-hooks and whatnot. Learn some tapers and all the stuff I yammer about. Might be an interesting video to watch an actual beginner do it. To show how accessible this kind of skill is. You just gotta keep working at it. So all I'm doing right now, I'm on the right camera, right? Yep. Is we did the taper. Now we're knocking down those high points that we talked about last week. Square, octagon, round. Not bad. So I will round that off a little bit more on the next heat and then curl and hook it, and that'll be it for this hook. And we might be able to get to this hook before the gas gets out. I don't know how much the forge you guys can hear, but it's getting a little bit sputtery. Personally, I think the new microphone is working out fantastically. I think that's more a question for Levi over there since he's listening in. What kind of issues? Buffering. But that's not a statement on the audio quality, that's more a stream quality thing. One more time?
We've gotten rid of the rubber banding and audio actually sounds like you.
Well, that's good. I'd hate to sound like somebody else. Yeah, fun fact, Levi, I can't understand you when I'm hammering. Alright, so we got that all tapered up. Oh, I was on the wrong camera again. Got that all tapered up. I'll try not to burn myself in the process. So on the next one, we're going to give it a little pigtail so it's not pointy so you don't impale yourself. And maybe we can get the hook out of it too in one heat. We'll see what happens. So yeah, I'm glad that this string quality is better.
Still have room for improvement, but we're getting there.
Yeah, we've got the cable so we can hook cables to the laptop and let the laptop do the heavy lifting.
I think that'd be a lot better, yeah.
If Motorola would hurry up and drop their new phones already in the States, I would have a brand new phone that might have a little bit more sand in its britches to get it done. So we'll just have to see. I think I saw something about how they brought I think it's the Ultra, the Motorola Ultra. I think they brought that to the States, or they're getting ready to. Which will probably be the new phone as soon as it's available to me. But let's see if we can get this curled and hooked all in one heat. So we're just going to hold just the tip off the edge. And we're going to follow it over, much like we're starting a penny scroll. This time we're basically going to collapse it and close it up, just to get that sharp edge out of there. And which way do we want to bend this? I always get this wrong. That'll put the hook on the outside, so we'll come over to the horn. I'm just dragging it away from the horn so we can fling it across the yard. Get some drum forging in today. We'll get this hot again and we'll do the hook in the next one. I'm going to blame Levi for that hook not happening on that heat.
I usually get blamed for everything.
You know, today we're not going to blame you for everything. We're just going to blame for me chucking that on the floor. Stream's running a little bit long today, but I'm going to blame technical difficulties on that. We're going to let this get real good and hot so it bends over much easier. Then I'm about ready to shut down this board because it's super hot over here.
I can imagine. It's toasty where I'm at. I'm not even next to it.
Yeah. Sweating like a pig over here. But I'm not sure pigs sweat. I don't know. That was just always a thing you used to say in the country, sweating like a pig. But I don't know if that's a thing they do, because I think that's why they wallow around in mud, because they don't have the necessary glands to sweat. Jump in the comments, guys. Do pigs sweat? And do you think that if they did, they would go through deodorant twice as fast because they have 4 armpits in which to put it on? What was that? That was also a good point. What if they got the spray kind and then they could just... They could mash it with their hooves. They just prop it up on the table. I mean, fun little side story while we're waiting for that to get really getting hot. I did HVAC when I was in college and they made me spray paint a whole bunch of stuff. Like, seriously spent 8 hours just spray painting, and by the end of it, I couldn't do that with my hands anymore. So I was holding the bottle in my elbow against my ribs, and I was using my wrist to push the button down so I could continue spraying. So I would imagine the pig could do the same thing with the deodorant thing. All right, back to making hooks here. That was a real good way to burn some time. So now let's see if we can actually get this hook hooked. So back over to the horn. Look at that, folds right over real nice. That's ugly as sin, but we'll see if we can get that fixed up. Or throw it on the floor again. That's just a little crooked. Remember, your anvil is also a tool, so I'm just sticking it in the hardy hole. and giving it a good twist. And there we go. Got ourselves our penny scroll hook. And I think that is where we're going to end the stream today because it is super hot. I want to kill this forage before it dies on its own. So, thanks for coming. Next week, same